Have you ever held a simple pencil and wondered about its story? It's a journey more epic and fascinating than you could imagine, stretching from ancient Roman scribes to a French inventor working for Napoleon, and even to a famous American philosopher. Get ready, because we're about to uncover the complete history of the pencil. Our story starts long before the pencil. In ancient Rome and Greece, people wrote on wax tablets using a thin metal rod called a stylus. This stylus was often made of lead, and that's where the confusion began. The name lead pencil stuck, even though the lead inside is actually a completely different material. The very word pencil itself comes from the Latin word penicillus, meaning little tail, which was the name for a small, fine artist brush. So, the name has artistic roots from the very start. It happened in 1564, in a place called Borrowdale, England. A massive storm blew down a tree, and beneath its roots, something incredible was revealed, a huge, pure deposit of a strange, black, shiny mineral. This was graphite, a pure form of carbon. Local shepherds were the first to use it, marking their sheep with this new material. They quickly realized it left a much darker, cleaner mark on paper than actual lead. It was perfect for writing and drawing, but there were problems. The raw graphite was brittle, and it got your hands incredibly dirty. The first solution was simple. They wrapped the graphite sticks in string or sheepskin. When you needed to write, you'd just unwind a bit of the string. Soon realized this was no ordinary rock. This Borrowdale graphite was so pure and perfect that it was also ideal for molding cannonballs for the British Navy. The Crown immediately claimed the mines as property of the state, and smuggling graphite became a crime punishable by death. For a long time, England had a world monopoly on the best pencil material, which had the best graphite. It was in Italy that the first pencil, as we'd recognize it, was born. Around the 1560s, a couple of artisans, Simonio and Lindiana Bernaccotti, are believed to have created the first wooden pencil. They did it by hollowing out a piece of juniper wood and sliding a stick of graphite inside. This was the birth of the pencil in a wooden case. But the biggest revolution came from France, thanks to a man named Nicolas Comte. It was 1795, and France was at war with England under Napoleon Bonaparte. The British naval blockade meant France couldn't get any of that high-quality English graphite. So, Napoleon gave a top scientist, an inventor named Comte, a challenge: invent a pencil using only our low-quality French graphite. A true genius, solved it in just a few days. His idea was brilliantly simple: grind the low-quality graphite into a powder, mix it with clay and water to form a paste, and then shape this paste into thin rods. He then fired these rods in a kiln at extremely high temperatures. The result was a strong, ceramic-like pencil, lead. But his invention did something even more important. He discovered that by changing the ratio of clay to graphite, he could control the pencil's hardness. More clay meant a harder pencil with a lighter mark. More graphite meant a softer pencil with a darker, blacker mark. This is the exact system we still use today with H, B, and HB pencils. Contest method was revolutionary and freed the world from relying on English graphite. Across the Atlantic, a similar crisis sparked innovation. In 1812, America was at war with England and couldn't import pencils anymore. A Massachusetts cabinetmaker named William Monroe stepped up. He built a machine that could precisely cut grooves into wooden slats. He would put a graphite stick in one groove, glue another slat on top, and then cut the sandwich into individual pencils. This was the first mass production of American pencils. And here's a plot twist you might not expect. The famous American philosopher and author, Henry David Thoreau, was also a professional pencil maker. In the 1830s, Thoreau inherited his father's pencil factory. He was a perfectionist and wasn't happy with their pencils. He dedicated himself to improving them. He traveled to New York to learn the latest techniques, and it's believed he discovered Contest method in the library at Harvard. He started using clay instead of wax and eventually created pencils that were said to be superior to the best German and English pencils of the time. Many believe he wrote his masterpiece, Walden, using pencils made by his own family. A pencil isn't complete without its two best friends. Before the eraser, people erased mistakes with crumbs of bread or pumice stone. In 1770, an English engineer named Edward Nairn accidentally discovered that a piece of natural rubber was fantastic for erasing graphite marks. He started selling small rubber cubes for that purpose. The name rubber itself comes from the verb to rub out, coined by the scientist Joseph Priestley around the same time. The idea of putting an eraser on the pencil came later. In 1858, an American named Hyman Lippmann got a patent for gluing a small eraser to the end of a pencil. And what about the sharpener? At first, people just used a small knife. In fact, the word penknife originally meant a knife for sharpening quill pens, and then pencils. The first patent for a pencil sharpener was given to a Frenchman named Bernard Lassaulme in 1828. The simple, handheld rotary sharpener we all know was perfected by another Frenchman, Thierry d'Estevaux, in 1847. You might have noticed that so many pencils are yellow. Ever wonder why? It all started in the 1890s. An Austrian company called L&C Hartmouth created a new, high-quality pencil. They wanted to name it after the famous Koh-i-Noor diamond, meaning mountain of light, to suggest that their pencil was the diamond of pencils. At that time, the best graphite in the world was thought to come from Siberia, in the Far East. So, to associate their pencil with that exotic, high-quality source, they painted it a rich, luxurious yellow. The color became a symbol of quality, and soon every other company was painting their best pencils yellow to compete. So, the next time you pick up a pencil, remember, you're holding a piece of history, a story that connects ancient shepherds, Napoleonic wars, a brilliant French inventor, a famous American philosopher, and a marketing trick involving a diamond in Siberia. It's not just a pencil, it's a little miracle of human ingenuity. So, the next time you pick up a pencil, whether it's to write a note, sketch a dream, or solve a problem, just remember, you're holding more than wood and graphite. You're holding 500 years of human curiosity, a story that begins under a fallen tree in an English forest, passes through the hands of a French genius working for Napoleon, crosses the Atlantic to a philosopher in a wooden cabin, and lands on your desk today, painted yellow because of a marketing trick involving a diamond. The pencil survived wars, empires, and the digital age. It evolved from sheepskin wrappings to hexagonal perfection. It was shaped by shepherds, scientists, artists, and dreamers. And now, it's your turn. What will you write with it? If you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to like this video. It really helps the channel. And if you haven't already, subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss another story. Because next time, we might explore the history of something even simpler, like paper, or scissors, or the notebook you're writing in. Thanks for watching. Stay curious, and keep writing. See you in the next video. Penology.